Performance is one of the most important things that you need to consider about your application. Why is performance important? This is because small periods of time that you make your users wait, it becomes an inconvenience to the users, and there is a big chance that they'll drop off and not use your application anymore. For this reason, you should make sure that your application appears as fast to the user as possible. Caching is one way to make your application appear faster to the user. So suppose you have an application and you have a backend running on any framework as such. So the backend may have mechanisms for caching certain API calls, but you may also want to put client-side caching. In this video, I'll show you how to basically implement client-side caching in an Ionic application. To start off, let's create a new Ionic project. We'll start with Angular and we'll select a blank application for the time being. Now that the application is set up, first thing that we'll do is we'll create a service. Ionic allows you to create a service through its CLI. Let's go inside the Ionic folder that we just created. To generate a service, we'll use Ionic generate service API. Now you can see that the API service has been created. Now that we have imported the HTTP client module, we can go to the service and use this for making API calls. So private HTTP client, and we'll import HTTP client. Now we'll write a get call, get characters. And now here we have a get call API, which allows you to fetch data from this given endpoint. Let me just close this off. Okay. Now, every time you hit this method, you will make an API call to fetch data. Whenever an API call happens, a number of steps are followed and a network call takes place to the API. The API call retrieves the data and sends it back. This has a certain delay which starts accompanying this whole transfer of data as well as the API retrieving the data. So for this reason, if we cache that information inside the client itself, the API call doesn't necessarily need to go out. You can just get the call data from memory and you'll save time over here. Now, how do we do this? One of the easiest way to do this is by using a library called ts-cachable. To install ts-cachable, use this command npm I ts-cachable. Once this is done, the next thing that we need to do is just add this decorator, cacheable, to the method. And this is it. Now, only the first time you call this method, the API call will go out. Rest of the cases, it will draw from the cache. And it will make sure that you don't get repeat API calls time and again. In case you have a post method where you need to kind of remove this cache. For that reason, the ts-cachable library also gives you something called a cache buster. To use a cache buster, you can use this format. First, we declare something called a subject. Const character subject is equal to new subject. We don't need to give a data type to this. And we import subject from RxJS. Let's add a dollar here to demarcate that this is an observable. Next, what we do is we create the post method, post character, and over here we do return this HTTP post and we post with some data over here. Now, we want to remove this cache whenever we make a post call. How do we do this? We do @cache buster and we add a cache buster notifier to the subject. This means that anytime this method is called, next would be called on the subject, which is passed into the cache buster notifier. Now we link it up to cacheable using this. We use set cache buster observer to character subject. Now your setup is done. Now anytime a method call to post character happens, the cache inside get character would essentially get cleared off. This is how you can set up caching for your application and improve the overall performance of your Ionic application. Thank you.